Welcome to Breaking Barriers, where we're exploring African American history and today's social justice issues. Change starts with awareness, so listen and learn. I'm your host, Stephanie, and let's get started. Hey, y'all. Welcome to Breaking Barriers. I'm your host, Stephanie Cooper. Breaking Barriers is a podcast about African American history and contemporary social justice issues, talking about history and how history continues to repeat itself and what we can do to change that. If this is your first time, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are returning, thank you so much for your love and support. I truly appreciate you. I'm so glad that you came back. Today, we're going to talk about the Black Panther Party, the things that they did, why they did it. Very important figures in contributing to that movement and to that party and adding to the value of the Black community, what they were doing and how they were able to make the change that they made. So let's get into it. During the mid-1960s was a time of racial injustice, police brutality, and economic inequality. These are contributing factors as to where the Black Panther Party came from and why there was a need for the Black Panther Party. The civil rights movement's victories included the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, but they did not help or affect or eliminate systematic racism, especially in policing. The assassination of Malcolm X radicalized a lot of young Black activists who sought self-defense rather than nonviolence movements and resistance. The Black Panther Party started in Oakland, California, because Oakland, California had a highly militarized police targeting specifically the Black community. The original name of the Black Panther Party was the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. It was aimed to protect Black communities from police brutality and armed citizens to protect themselves. They would have armed citizens who would patrol and monitor police behavior. Just if they saw something going on, they would insert themselves to make sure that whoever is being brutalized or harassed is protected. The Black Panther Party had a 10-point program, which included freedom and self-determination, full employment for Black people, an end to capitalistic exploitation, decent housing and education for the Black community, the right for Black men to be exempt from military service, an end to police brutality and murder of Black people, freedom of all Black prisoners, fair trials with juries composed of peers of the Black community, and to end racial oppression, and lastly, land, bread, housing, education, and justice for the Black community. So a lot of the times when people are speaking of the Black Panther Party, they speak specifically only on the actions of self-defense and protecting people in the Black community, but they also had community programs and social activism to help build up the community as well. One of the programs that they had was the free breakfast program, which served 20,000 meals per week across multiple cities. Because the free breakfast club was so popular, the FBI and local police would raid these facilities. Even while the kids were eating, they would go in while the kids were eating, destroy all of the food. They would try to discredit them by telling parents that the food was poisoned. They would harass church leaders who were running the breakfast clubs, and they would question and arrest Black Panther members who were working to put these events together. Eventually, by the early 1970s, the free breakfast program stopped because of the raids, arrests, the harassment, and just constant fighting between the FBI and local police and a group of Black people trying to help their community. It's crazy to think that our own government is trying to fight against us. There was nothing wrong with the program. They weren't doing anything bad. They were literally just helping the people in their community to make sure that they were fed. And that felt like a threat to the FBI. Another program that the Black Panther Party had was people's free medical centers, which would provide free healthcare to thousands of Black individuals who were living in poverty, who could not afford to go get a doctor's checkup or get medication or whatever that they may have needed. If they needed a checkup, whatever it was, they were able to go there for free and not have to worry about having to pay. Black Panther Party also worked to raise awareness around sickle cell disease because it disproportionately affects Black people. So raising awareness, letting people know, hey, this is something that is more common in Black people. You should get checked. These are possible signs. Just educating people. They also had educational initiatives where they would teach people about their history, about activism and self-reliance, just letting people know this is your history, this is what's going on, and this is what you can do to protect yourself and the people around you. On top of that, they also had self defense and police patrols. This is the part that is most commonly known. The Black Panther Party members would patrol police with loaded firearms to ensure that they were following the law. They weren't provoking them, they weren't trying to hurt them in any way. They were just trying to ensure that no Black people were being wrongly harassed or brutalized in any way by the police just because the police believe that they could, because they have the power to do so. They were ensuring that they were following the law. Any direct confrontation with enforcement was provoked and initiated by police. It was never the Black Panther Party initiating any violence or any issues with the police. They were there solely to ensure the safety of the Black community. That is all. The Black Panther Party had a significant political and cultural influence on the civil rights movement, from encouraging people to integrate to self determination, Black pride, self defense, being who you are, protecting yourself, make sure that you're okay. So you do not have to feel like you have to change who you are to live where you live at. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to be Black. Protect yourself. Know your rights. That was their main idea. The Black Panther Party also has influence over current social justice programs and organizations such as Black Lives Matter. Same type of morals, same type of characteristics, same type of ideals and missions that the Black Panther Party had. Protect yourself, stand up for others, Black pride, self determination. The Black Panther Party built up the Black community. It gave them a sense of resilience, self determination, self reliance, and to have pride in who they are. The Black Panther Party also encouraged community based solutions to systematic issues, starting from their own community and growing to make that change on a systematic level. This also caused a economic uplift. It encouraged cooperative business, healthcare collaboratives, and education reform, changing the way that systems are working for the Black community. Because the Black Panther Party had created such a shift in the civil rights movement and encouraged the Black community to build themselves up and work together for a change, it became a very big threat to the federal government. The federal government was terrified of the change that was being made, and they did not know what to do. So you know what they did? They cracked down. They started making new programs and finding ways to shut down the Black Panther Party. One of the many programs we had was the counterintelligence program. The FBI director, Edgar Hoover, labeled the Black Panther Party as the greatest threat to internal security and specifically targeted them. They had surveillance, infiltration, disinformation, and assassinations. This is how they were used. This is what they used to destroy the Black Panther Party. Piece by piece by piece by piece. Fred Hampton's assassination was the direct result of this repression. If you have never seen the movie Judas and the Black Messiah, please, please go watch it. I beg of you. This movie is specifically about the Black Panther Party in Chicago, Illinois, being infiltrated by the FBI and leading to the assassination of Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton was very young and making extreme change, and he was seen as a threat to our government, although all he was working to do was protect the Black community. There was also a lot of internal conflict and leadership disputes within the party itself. There was a split between people wanting to have an armed revolution and then having social programs. These were two factors of the party, but many leaders and people with members wanted one or the other instead of having both, which is where it caused a lot of internal conflict. It was militarism versus community engagement. Now I want to talk about some of the key figures within the party. The first one being Huey P. Newton. He was one of the co-founders and intellectual leaders of the party. He wrote the Revolutionary Suicide Manifesto. Later down the line, he did struggle with some of the internal conflicts that I spoke about earlier, and some of the issues with government pressure. Another one is Bobby Seale. He was also a co-founder and intellectual leader. He was mainly an organizer. He focused specifically on community organizing and grassroots and activism. He was arrested multiple times, but he was always a big impact and voice within this movement. Another person is who I spoke about earlier, Fred Hampton. He was the leader of the Chicago Black Panther Party. He built coalitions all across racial lines, and the FBI assassinated him when he was 21 in his sleep. They had someone working on the inside and giving them information, and eventually they raided his home while he was asleep and assassinated him at the age of 21. Like I said, if you have not seen Judas and the Black Messiah, it's very, very good movie. It's definitely very emotional. It's hard to watch. I'm not going to lie. It's very heavy, but it talks about a lot of important things. It really opens your eyes to what was going on, and how much the government truly believed that these people were a threat. Although what they were doing, again, was supporting their community and ensuring that the police were doing their job and following the law and not killing Black people. And they viewed this as a threat and assassinated him. Another person associated with the Black Panther Party is Angela Davis. You should know who that is. She is a scholar and an activist. She was fighting for prison abolition and women's rights. Again, still something that she works on this day. She is 81 years old. She's still known to be an activist. She's a professor as well. She was the third woman to ever be put on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list. She was accused of murder and later acquitted because there was evidence proving that it was not her. She did not do it, and the things that they were being told was false. So, as most of you know, the Black Panther Party does not exist anymore. It was officially dissolved in the 1980s. Most of the people, most of the leaders were either in prison, assassinated, or exiled. And it kind of just fell apart from there because the government was just doing so much to destroy this party from the inside out because they truly believed it was that much of a threat. Although the Black Panther Party no longer exists, there are other organizations that are modern that are inspired by the Black Panther Party. Some of these organizations include Black Panther Party Cubs, which is inspired specifically in carrying out the legacy of Fred Hampton. Black Lives Matters. Again, y'all know what this is. If you don't know what it is, you're living under a rock. The Black Lives Matter movement is specifically protesting and advocating for on behalf of police brutality, to stop police brutality, to protect the Black community. There's also the Huey P. Newton Foundation, which preserves the history and the legacy of the original Black Panther Party. You also still see the legacy of the Black Panther Party living on to this day through our culture. Whether it's film or music, we have the Black Panthers vanguard of the revolution. We have Judas and the Black Messiah, which I talked about earlier. You also have music, hip hop, that are relaying these messages through their music. One of them being Tupac. His mom was literally a member of the Black Panther Party. That's why he knew so much, because his mom was an activist. You also have people like Kendrick Lamar who are also talking about common themes in his music. Things that were brought up in the Black Panther Party that he addresses in his music to this day. The Black Panther Party was so much more than self-defense. Yes, that was a key factor of it, but it was also about racial equity, getting proper housing, getting education, access to healthcare, food for the community, building up our community through grassroots movements, pushing for change, protecting and providing all the things that we could for the Black community. And again, it continues to shape the current movements that we are seeing now, how we see modern day push for change. That is all I have for today. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new today. I really hope you go check out Judas and the Black Messiah. Like I said, it's heavy, but it's so good, and it's so educational. It will really open your eyes to so many things, to truly see how fearful the world is of the Black community and the power that we hold. But thank you for listening. Have a great day, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Bye. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.